and welcome to this the best chat with me, Espen. I am going to having daily interviews from Monday to Thursday every week now. And my first person I interview today is our super duper Dave, who's with us, who's with us here today to speak about the feel good story because it's all about the feel good story in these live classes. So, Super Day, welcome. Good to have you here.
Hi, Espen. Hi, guys. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm really excited about your new venture into this idea of the best chats with all the besties and all these different beautiful interviews that you're going to be doing. So yeah, no, this is great. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome, and thank you for being here. So, it's good to come together for co-create and to expand even more in Feel Good Now. So,
Yeah.
tell me about your feel good story, Dave, in your life. What is that you're most satisfied in right now? And
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, it's fun because I know you had asked me off the recording, like what area of your life are you, getting the most satisfaction from currently? And I'd said personal growth, but one of something that's really been powerful for me, Espen, is and can you hear me okay? I know talk I talk
I'm,
way quieter than I used to, which is really nice. Okay. Okay,
you
good.
sound great.
Perfect. Okay, great. Awesome. Um, I said it was personal growth, but what I find is so amazing and so powerful is that the more that I'm focused on what's satisfying, the more areas of my life are also wonderfully satisfying. Do you know what I mean? So, like,
Mhm.
initially I said personal growth, but it made me think like I'm having so much satisfaction in my career. I'm having so much satisfaction in my romance life. I'm having so much satisfaction in my friends and family. I'm having so much right? And that makes sense because whatever we put our attention and focus on, which is a big thing that we talk about in Best Life, you get more of. And so, personal growth, of course, me being the director of training with everything that we do in Best Life, I basically teach class 7 days a week, sometimes multiple class certain days. And they're all different variations, right, of different themes and different subjects, for everyone's life, because we're not just a coaching company, we're not just a business company, we're not just a personal development company, but rather a personal empowerment community. So because of that, we have classes in like business empowerment and wealth and abundance training and mentoring and releasing and uplifting and feel good now training, and all these, and those are just a handful of just the varied beautiful trainings that we have in Best Life. But I do that, to put it in perspective for people that are watching, I do that about 25 hours a week in addition to everything else that I do, right? And it's funny because I had someone approach me, this was months and months ago, Espen, but they said, "Man, you're working a lot." And I said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "You sure do do a lot of stuff with Best Life." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I love it." And they're like, "Well, do you ever gauge your hours?" And I'm like, "Do I ever what?" They're like, "Do you ever gauge your hours? Like, do you ever figure out how long you've been working?" And I'm like, "No, because it doesn't feel like work." And that's another thing with satisfaction, right? Like I
Mm.
know you're real familiar with the fact that I work for Lyft, and for those that are here, on my Super Days with Super Dave that I do on Tuesdays here in the West, um, they know that I work for Lyft, but that doesn't feel like work too. And I do that another like I think on average 28 to 30 hours a week, right?
Mm.
But it doesn't feel like work because it's things that I absolutely enjoy and that are of such high levels of satisfaction for me. So I don't know if that answers the question or expands it out for you or whatever, but
For
there you
sure.
go.
I love your story, feel good story. So tell me more about how this feels for you then when you are doing all of these things. Now you are having this personal growth with yourself and you're having these classes every day and you have this energy and the alignment every day. So how do you feel about all of this?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that I feel, and it was wonderfully presented to me through the satisfaction exercise that we're talking about in the training, and specifically in our life coaching certification class that our wonderful Sue Adams teaches us, is the satisfaction exercise. And from that, we're able to connect the understanding of our emotions, right? Whether it's like happy or joy or satisfaction, but then also tie it into the sort of feelings that we get from the body, right? So maybe it's like
Mm.
chills, or feeling like energy moving through us, or, and for those that aren't sensitive, maybe it's just like, you find yourself smiling more or laughing more, or, you know what I mean? Like it's these different concepts and these different things, and to just be flowing beautifully forward with that. Um, for me, the biggest thing that I've found for myself, and even just thinking about it now, I can feel it in my body, and it's that my life is so fun. It's just so
Mhm.
fun. Like I can just when I feel fun, Espen, when I have that emotion of fun, I can feel it in the bottom of my toes, right? I can feel it in a warming sensation in the middle of my back. Even now, as I'm talking to you about this, right?
Feel it too.
I've noticed that.
With you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I've noticed that even like my own sensitivities, and you could say proclivities of my ability to feel these different feelings and sensations in my body has increased too. Why? Because I've been putting such beautiful attention on the satisfaction. And that's not to say that, like, that's the goal, which is for everyone to, be as sensitive as myself, I know you're very sensitive to energy, but it is about the connection of understanding your satisfaction and the feelings that that satisfaction incorporates and brings in. And
Mm.
anyone can do that. I just worked with someone yesterday where they're like, well, I don't feel it in my body, but I smile. And I'm like, well, recognize, when you're smiling, that you're in those emotions. You're in those emotions of happy and bliss and blissful, and you know what I mean? So, yeah, there you go.
So so cool. So tell me about what tool are you using? When you're waking up in the morning, and how do you start your day? And
Perfect. Yeah. So I meditate. It's usually a very short meditation, and we love your meditations too. And sometimes I incorporate those in addition to my meditation. But it's a very short thing. It's like a 10 to 15 minute thing to just really get into a space where I can feel my alignment. I'm not necessarily searching for that feeling of fun, right? But I'm absolutely getting to a space where I can really, for myself, experience that sensation of like calmness, and just like, and even right now as I'm just thinking about it, I can almost like feel like chills starting to come up through my body, and just being like and just taking the recognition of knowing that when I'm experiencing that, I'm in alignment. I don't need to figure out why my
mm,
body's doing that, what's taking place. I'm just being in that receival space. And it ties into a lot of the training that I got years and years ago, Espen, when I became a Reiki master. Because my Reiki master said too, um, when you're when you're offering Reiki, when you're delivering Reiki, you're basically a conduit for this universal energy of source. And so it's almost like, when I'm doing Reiki, I'm like, well, it's not me, it's me being the beautiful conduit for this energy, right? And it's the same thing with my own alignment. I'm not like, oh yeah, I'm the best. I'm the best at being aligned. I'm just like, yeah, this feels great. I love my alignment, and it feels good. It's about really enjoying the pleasure of it, instead of thinking that I need to focus on the power of it. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
absolutely. So you talk about a lot about the segment intending. So you're using that a lot too.
Yeah.
So how to feel it through? What's the
Yeah.
difference when you do this meditation, when you do the segment intending, and you're setting this forth in a daily practice for yourself?
Yeah.
How do you feel through, when just starting with the meditation in the morning? How is it
Yeah.
feel for you through the day, just with quieting your
Oh,
mind and
yeah.
relaxing into your own alignment, and then move on?
Oh, I love that, Espen. I love that you asked that. That's such a brilliant question. I'm going to back it up and say that, we've heard this saying, which is like, are you being the deliberate creator, or are you creating by default, right? We've heard that in personal development, right? And recently in Best Life, we've kind of made our own sort of like best life-sizing on it, which is that, are we being a deliberate focuser, or are we being a focuser by default, right? And that's why I love segment intending. That's why I love our beautiful ability and the tools of meditation and things to get into that aligned space, because then we are deliberately focusing it. And people will go, well, why would you want to be a deliberate focuser? That almost seems like you're overdoing it, right? Because, we talk about with segment intending, and Jen and I have our beautiful class coming up on Saturday, guys, getting out ahead of it, the art of segment intending. We'll post the details in that in the comments below. But what I think is so powerful is that people think that, well, if I'm deliberately focusing, then, my mind is all over the place. But really, the mind is in the perfect place, which is right ahead of us. It's right in what's that next logical step, right? And being real general with our segment intending. So, like, I'll give you an example for me this morning, Espen. When I woke up, I said, this meditation is going to feel really good. That's all I said. And then I did it. And it did. And then after I did it, I was like, what feels good next? Yeah, ooh, I see Espen's on. Cool. I'm just going to enjoy having this in the background as I played. And guess what? I was having you in the background playing and just hearing your soothing voice. This is nice, And then it was time for me to do my first class, and I was like, I'm really, really looking forward to doing my class, and that class is going to be really nice, right? And then I did, right? And then thus again, class was very, very nice. But here's what's so powerful. I even broke it down even more and generalized even more, because then when people came onto class with the particular class I was doing, which was the releasing and uplifting class, I was working with individuals. So I would also pre-pave each individual that I was working with, right? Okay, my experience with so-and-so is going to be a delight. Like, I'm not trying to put out any sort of weirdness, like, oh, there's going to be major breakthroughs, or this guy's really going to get it, or, she's really going to, have a major wow or aha. That's not my intention, and frankly, it's not my job. But it is my job to wonderfully keep focused on my own alignment. So I would say things like, I'm really going to delight working with this individual. And then I do. And then that way, even if contrast from them appears or comes, look at all this beautiful momentum of satisfaction that I've built, right? So it's so easy to just continue to flow forward and just really allow it to feel like what it is that we talk about in the classes, and like we will talk about in our 6-week class coming up, which is an art. It's this beautiful art of segment intending, And so it's given that mind that beautiful space to put a focus, which is, what feels good next? What feels good next? What feels good
I
next?
love that. So tell me more about that upcoming classes that's coming.
Oh, sure, man. So, so Jen Kazmarchik and myself, Jen is our wonderful CEO. We are very excited about this class, but it's called Getting Out Ahead of It, The Art of Segment Intending. It's a 6-week class. And it's about really understanding the different components with segment intending. Abraham has referred to it, right, as getting out ahead of it, segment intending. There's another one that they used to say a lot. I already forgot it, but it's another one, right? So, but we're calling it getting out ahead of it, and it's that art of segment intending. Because it's this idea of really deliberately focusing moment by moment by moment by moment, right? And it's not hard, but it is a focus, right? And that's why we even are offering specific tools. Like, one is called the Book of Positive Aspects, right? We're having everyone get like a regular size notebook and just have it with them, so that way whenever they think of positive aspects about whatever it is that they're focusing on, they can just jot them down real quick, like yeah, oh man, God, I really love my family. What do I love about my family? I love this, and I love this, and I love this. Just until it doesn't feel good, and then just go do something else, right? And that's one of the big components that we'll talk about in the class. It's going to be a thread, if you will, throughout the whole class, right? And the other is a small notebook that you can carry around with you, and guess what that's for? Segment intending, getting out ahead of it. So let's just say you're like going into like an interview. Grab your little notebook, and the drive will be smooth, right? Because I'm not going to talk about the interview, that's too far ahead. But let's say I'm ready to go to my interview, so I would write my little notebook. The drive will be smooth. Close up the notebook, put the notebook in your pocket, go for your drive. Right, segment intend, beautiful. The ride is nice. Maybe you get out of the office. Okay, you're about to walk into your interview. As I walk in, I'm feeling a sense of satisfaction, right? Okay, close the notebook, And so what it's allowing people to really do is get to the space where they're deliberate focusers, where they don't need to have those tools. But if they want to, and it feels good to continue to utilize them and use them, they can. Because I even have those tools right now, and I've been utilizing them when it feels good. It's not a thing for me where it's like, with alignment, it's never a thing of you must do this and you must do this and you must do this. It's just what feels good to you, what feels good to you, what feels good to you, and following that. And we're going to be talking about that, and that'll be really fun to thread that in throughout the whole 6-week class. So there you go.
It's so great, Dave. And I noticed that you were general when you segment intending something,
Yeah.
and when you are like more easy and gentle with it, like general. Tell me about that because you talk about the specific
Yeah.
things to be specific, but
Yeah.
how when you are more general and easy about what you segment intend. So like
Yeah. I, yeah. No,
yeah.
I love that, Espen. That's a great question, and I can answer it by saying that so much personal development is like, you need to be specific, right? You need to really hammer in the specifics, and the more specific, the better, right? Like, so find out the color of it, right? Like that's a car, right? Like find out the color and the make and the model and all these things really sound good. They do, don't they sound good, Vespin? Like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. Like to know like exactly what car I want and what kind of engine I want and what kind of types of seats I want, because then it's really vivid, right? It's really detailed. Ooh, lots to consider and think about. But most of the time, that creates massive resistance because there's too
Mm,
many specifics, right? So one of the things that we incorporate in Best Life is the power of being general, because that's something that most of us can just really believe in and grasp in. And
mm,
the only word I can think of in this moment is, yeah, flow forward with it, because then you're not like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, oh man, that's what I want. But you'll notice as I said it, you can almost hear the doubt in my voice. But if I was just to say, focus on, we'll just say, having a nicer car, it's like, yeah, nicer car sounds really good. That's awesome. Huh. Wonder what it'll be. Right? You see how there's like a lighter energy with it already and a lighter approach? And then, to expand
yeah.
on the idea of specifics, those specifics will come, but not by us having to think about them, Espen. They'll just automatically um, take place. Like, well, case in point, with my car, I have a car, I've had it for several years, but it really is appropriate for what we're talking about here, which was I started very general. All I said at the beginning was I would like a nice car. Because the car that I had previously, Espen, only drove backwards. So you do the math. This nice car would be good, right? But I didn't need to get all crazy specific and be like, I want a nice luxury car that goes from this to this and all these, right? I didn't need to go there, right? And so for the first kind of cars that I test drove, as I was in the pursuit of looking for a nice car, I did find some nice cars, but maybe some were not in the range that felt good to me to purchase. Maybe some were not the model that I was really feeling. But I just kept having this knowingness that when I know it's the right car for me, I'll feel it. And so after about 7 or 8 test drives of different cars, I got in the car and I was like, this is the car. This is the car. And then when I started to learn about all the specifics, even learning about those specifics felt good. Ooh, it goes 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds. Ooh, it's got a turbo. It's got a moonroof and a sunroof. Wow, heated front seats and back seats. Ooh, yeah, ooh, a whole glass roof. Ooh, it's got a turbo. Right. But you notice that I didn't focus on those specifics in order to get that car, because if I had, I would have never believed that I would have been able to manifest that. You know what I mean? But those
So
wonderful
Dave,
specifics, when they came in, they just, yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah,
so I love what you shared. So it's coming into a place of really about feeling your alignment with what you desire for.
yeah,
So when you're easy and
yeah,
general and feel that gentleness in that, then it can unfold
yeah,
more the specificness around it. But you don't thinking about it, but you feel it, that desire you have for a nice car,
yeah.
and you felt good through having that
That's right.
thought, and then you
That's right.
go to this place and you felt that car that was for you, and now you have it, and you're driving with
Yeah,
that every day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
So
I love
tell me about the
driving
feelings
those.
then. So what is that,
Yeah,
the feeling aspects of all of this, this feeling good, feel good now aspects of all of it? Because it's not really about the thinking, but it's the cooperation with the feeling and thinking, right? So can you
yeah,
expand on that? Like,
yeah. Of course. Yeah, of course. I love that question. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just continue moving forward with this example of the car, right? It felt freedom. I felt joy. I felt happiness. I felt anticipation. I felt eagerness. I felt all these emotions of satisfaction. There was never a point, and get this, there was even some contrast, because even my broker was like, oh, I don't know if they're going to approve you. And, and at one point he called me and he's like, and I'm like, you must have some good news or you wouldn't be calling. And he's like, well, not really. I called 7 different places and they couldn't approve you. And my response very warmly was like, awesome, you must be getting closer. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I guess so, because I want to get you in this car. And I was like, yeah, I'd love for you to get me in this car, and I'm like, okay, call me if you get any other good news, right? Because I was really feeling my alignment. I was really feeling that, like, I didn't need the car to feel those feelings. I was already feeling those feelings prior to the manifestation of the vehicle, right? Because so many people, when it comes to manifesting things, they think, when I get this, then I'll feel that. But if you do that, that sustainable feeling doesn't last. Had I done that, Espen, I would have felt really good when I got it, and then just sort of bleh. But I still feel these feelings of freedom. I still feel these feelings of joy. I still feel these feelings of eagerness to drive. And I've had this car since 2015.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Feeling good now. And so... So much. So you talk about, it's so good to speak with, and thanks for everything. You inspire all of us, what you shared, Dave. I can feel it, and thank you.
Yeah, so
I love to expand how to expand also the contrast, because contrast doesn't feel, it's not bad, but expand it in the forward focus energy and feel good now. Like,
yeah,
what it is for you.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and even Abraham says that when we in life experience contrast, right, which means something that we don't desire, what we want and that vibrational equivalency of what we desire has already been created. And so for me, once that really came to a space of knowingness, it was so easy for me to get into a space of flowing forward when contrast arises, because it's almost like, sweet, what I want is here. Okay, what would feel a little bit better? And I just flow forward with it. Like, I don't go, why did I manifest this? Why is this coming up? I just go, okay, cool. It's just like a buffet, right, Espen? It's like we go into a buffet and we pick foods that we like. But if we pick food we don't like, we don't got to continue eating them. We can just be like, not my preference. I'm going to go grab something else. Well, it's the same thing in life, because we can't control that contrast will never happen to us again. But it's about...
Oh. Dave, are you cutting a little bit off here? Okay, it's okay.
Acknowledge interest in... Oh. You're a bit... Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Losing me. Uh-oh.
Oh, I couldn't hear what you shared there. It was like a little bit like a little bit so, but it's good.
Yeah,
can you tell it one more time? It's good, to repeat it. Repeat that.
Well, I mean, how
question.
funny that. No, I love it, and how funny that we're talking about contrast. So this is right here in real time. So that's fantastic. That's how it works.
A perfect example.
And like I was saying before it got choppy, I was saying it's about not reacting or responding to contrast. It's about acknowledging it in brief and flowing forward.
I love it.
It really is. And the freedom that we have to do that once we have the certainty knowing that the vibrational equivalency of what we desire is already created. So I don't ever draw back. When I notice contrast, I'm like, not my preference. Okay, I'm just going to flow forward. I'm just going to flow forward, just like a buffet. Nah, I'm not that. I don't think I want to eat that. That's all right. I don't have to sit there and be like, I must eat it, or, like try to eat it and be like, why can't I like this? Oh, let me choke it down. It's just acknowledging, right? It's just acknowledging the contrast in brief and just flowing forward. Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so funny. We got that experience right now, and now we're just moving forward. It's like we could sit there and talk about it, but we don't. So
No.
We
Yeah.
don't, not my preference. I love that you say not my preference. What's next?
Yeah.
Something
Exactly.
else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Well,
next?
Espen, too, and if I can add this, it's about understanding that, our alignment is not this idea of utopia. What I mean by that is that when we're aligned, we're not going to never not experience contrast, right? But we have so much delight in everything, including the contrast, that it doesn't feel bad. And it isn't bad. It's just wonderful, continuous clarity, clarification, and ability for us
True.
to focus on what feels good and then continue gently moving forward. And then really, everything that feels good pales in comparison to the contrast. But the contrast begins to be something that feels good too, because you're like, whatever. Okay, cool. Good to know. I'm just gonna move forward. And it's really that's my attention to the whole thing of it, right? Like I'm being dramatic, of course, because sometimes that creates wonderful impact. But that's how people sometimes
That's good.
behave when it comes to contrast, right? Like, oh, this hair's out of place. Oh, it's like, oh, this hair's out of place. Okay, well, moving forward, I'm sure it'll, at some point, great, great. You were saying, you know what I mean? Like, it's that. It's really that quick of, acknowledgement and brief, and then just flowing forward.
I love it. It's so good.
Thanks. Yeah.
So talk about tell me about for the driving. You're having a lot of people you drive for, and you meet quite many people on your road on driving and picking
Yes.
up people on the airport and picking up people everywhere around your area.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me your story,
Colorful.
your good feeling story in that. All of those experience how because you got a lot of contrast. You got a lot of different people and but you do
Yeah.
so well just like smoothing it out. You like you know do the best of it.
Thanks.
So tell me a
Yeah.
story
Thank you, Espen.
about an experience that you just like letting it move forward and the energy and then just like
Yeah.
that guy or whoever just like felt good and
Yeah.
just move on in his space, in his alignment, and knowing that all is well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely, Espen. And just to put it in perspective, guys, so in the West here and in the States, they have a company called Lyft, and it's very similar to Uber. Because I know
Mm.
Uber is international, but Lyft is only here in the States, and I think it's in Canada, and I think that's it right now. But maybe someday down the road they'll be more international. But anyways, I work for this company, and so yeah, just like you're saying, Espen, I get to experience a lot of different vibrations, right? I get to experience a lot of different variety because I'm dealing with people that just need to get somewhere, right? And I have no idea how they're going to feel or behave or act or say even before I pick them up. I just don't know, right? But because of the wonderful gifts and the tools that we've been using with pre-paving, oh, it doesn't matter any of those things. All that matters is that I continue to feel my own beautiful alignment. Because just like you said, you probably see lots of contrast. I see contrast, but I wouldn't even quantify it and say that I see a lots. Because I would honestly say, Espen, as far as like, since we're really feeling this out right now, and this is more for the viewers, but I'm feeling inspired to share it in this way. I've done over 900 rides, and I would say out of those 900 rides, there's only been like maybe 10 to 12 where there was a lot of contrast. So you do the math. That means like even if there was contrast, I didn't really recognize it. I was just like, huh, okay. And I just flowed forward. And yeah, that's what being in alignment is all about, man. It's about flowing forward. It's about acknowledging people to say. Because I love how you're like, can you think of a specific? And here's why flowing forward is so powerful and so freeing. I can't even think of examples that I had a couple days ago because I'm just so in this forward focused space. So even for me to try and draw back to that contrast, it's a little bit tricky because I'm just beautifully flowing forward. And that's what's so fun. Because even right now, I'm like, yeah, what happened? I mean, I had a lot of fun,
It's a
and
good
there was lots
sign.
of fun conversation. But yeah, what's that? Say again?
Yeah, that's a good sign.
Yeah, right. It's a good sign. Yeah. I mean, really, it's just like, yeah, yeah. Like even I talked to these guys that were engineers, and because there's an engineering school up in the mountains in Golden, Colorado, and they were wanting. They really got into this mode of wanting to ask me like how to understand people better. And I just got really inspired, and I just said, well, I'll just give you, something that might smooth this out moving forward, which is just, you guys, I said, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys have very overactive minds? And they're like, oh yeah, all the time. And that made sense, Espen, right? Because they're engineers. And these are guys that have never done personal growth necessarily. They've never done a lot of personal development. They've probably never read, books like Ask and It Is Given or anything like that. So it's like, okay, here's something new, because I knew it would probably feel new. Here's something new to consider. I said, when you find the mind being really, really active and you're with your clients, but you're wanting to see it from their perspective, just acknowledge your mind. And they're like, huh. You could tell they were thinking, right? Acknowledge our mind. We'll have to try that out. Okay, great. And then we talked about something else, and we were all flowing and feeling good. Here's where the magicness of this is, Espen. It's not the magicness. For me, it's more of like the certainty of it. It doesn't matter whether they apply it or not. I don't care. It's not going to change my alignment one bit. But for the moment, from my perspective, I felt them feel their alignment. And that's what was so wonderful and so rewarding, for them to be like, yeah, I could make this easier, instead of trying to figure out how to make it hard. Because our own alignment is really pure and simple and easy. That's why I say everything in life is easy, and some things are easier than others. That did not used to be my belief a year ago, Espen. It did not. My belief was, I hope I can make it easy. But, you notice how I'm still trying? But now I just know everything is easy, and some things are easier than others. Cool.
So inspirational. Thanks for sharing. Dave. All of this. It's.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. It's great. I love this.
This is so good. This is so good, and for all of you who are listening to you guys, it's to feel the inspiration from each other, to sharing and just sharing, and no thought about I need to change anyone, but just sharing from your own alignment. Really not thinking about to change something outside, but feeling good inside and feeling your own alignment. Then everything take care of itself, and it really doesn't matter other people or anything like that. It's about you. When you feel in alignment, that's inspirational for other people to feel the same for them too, in their own alignment. Because alignment energy, source energy, is in human being, in each and every one of us. Isn't that true? Like, we cannot avoid it. It's the true nature of who we are, and we all got it. And it really doesn't matter what you've been doing, what's been going on in your past, or because the alignment is always available for you now. So can you expand on that alignment available for you now, the now and forward focus energy?
Would you mind repeating that question again? Because I want to make sure I really understand your question. So, because there's a lot you gave me there. So,
I didn't remember.
Okay. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be the exact words. Even if you rephrase it, just flow forward with it. Because I wanted to know what you meant by that. So, can you sort of rephrase that for me?
So
I'll expand as much as I can. Yeah.
So the alignment energy, it's always now and forward focus, and it's always available for everyone, and it is always open and free, supporting and uplifting. Can you expand on that for everyone who's listening and share your story?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now I got it. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, another great question, Espen. You're amazing at these interviews. This is so fun. Yeah. I think that people think that if I focus on what I need to fix or get too out ahead of it and be like, okay, if I know what I'm doing next week, then I can really plan ahead, that's alignment. And both of those are not alignment. Both of those are putting focus on either drawing back or putting worry on thinking that they need to know everything and plan everything out, drawing forward way too much, right? Instead of just wonderfully being here and just getting out ahead of it. I even had a talk with a client of mine, and what they had said was, and I was really trying to focus on like what to do in like the next couple days. And all I asked this person was, well, how does that feel? And she said, it didn't feel very good. I was like, consider that you're probably pre-paving a little too far ahead of the future, because you don't know what's going to happen in the next 48 hours. And does it feel good to focus there? Or does it feel good to focus on right now? And she's like, oh my gosh, it feels so much better to just focus on right now. And you could hear in her voice, her tone changed. But more importantly, you could feel her energy lightening up. You could feel her ability to just like kind of chuckle about the whole thing. You could feel her idea to be playful about this thing that seems so serious and overbearing and I must know, and to just be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a
Mm.
deal. Like, and yeah, society's going to say it's a big deal, but it really isn't. It's not a big deal. It doesn't even matter what society thinks. See, I think people get the universe and society confused, Espen. They think that society is the universe, and they think that universe is society. Society is society. Society is all the other things happening outside of ourselves. Universe, alignment, it's from within.
Mm. I love that. Dave.
Yeah.
That's so good said. So
Yeah.
you talk about tone, and you talk about. I know you are a musician. You know you're an
Yeah.
excellent singer. I remember we playing in Kosovo guitar, and you
Yeah.
sing, and your voice is such an amazing. You know, it's the vibration and the feeling and hearing you. It's
Yeah.
so.
Thank you.
Tell me about singing and music for you. Your feel good story there. You know,
Hmm. Well,
the tone, the
yeah, I
vibration, the
think.
energy, the satisfaction, all of these vibration. Where do you feel those energy
Mm,
from within? Now you know doing this passion,
mm,
these things that satisfies you
yeah.
most.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I love that you said that too, Espen, because you're expanding on another great point that you asked me earlier in the interview, which was what is most satisfying to you, and it's this is another thing that is very satisfying to me, because it's very expansive and because it's very aligning. But yeah, I know for myself in my own life, with everything that I've done and everything that I'm continuing to do moving forward, music has been a very big part of it. And when I've been performing music, singing, being on stage and stuff like that, um, very similar to those sensations of fun, or that feeling, fun that I was telling you I had earlier. Um, I would feel it in my whole body. Sometimes tingles on the top of my heads. Sometimes beautiful energy kind of moving in my stomach. Never in a way that felt like weird, but like, very gentle, right? Very soothing. Almost like someone was taking their hand and like rubbing it across my tummy, like, you know, and just that energy, right? When I was performing, or, the tingles through my legs, or, the chills, through my spine, or, even now I'm feeling it a little bit right here, in the bottom of my spine, just right there, um, yeah, and just not thinking about it, but feeling it,
Mm.
right? And there was a time even too with my singing where I got into a space of thinking about it instead of feeling it. And funny enough, when I would think about it, it was harder, and when I would feel it, it was easier. So it's just
Mm.
more validation that when we're really feeling our own alignment, everything's easier. And when we're thinking that we need to overanalyze or be very introspective about what we're feeling, that things get more complex, and yeah, just simplifying it out so it can continue to evolve, and I can continue to evolve, and we can continue to evolve, and even technology, right? Technology is continuously evolving. We have this, it's in our hands, right? This is not more complex, it's more simplified. Because before it used to be big complex machines in a big room, and you could only have that on for so many minutes, and it can only do so many equations. And now, simplified, smaller, we can use this a lot,
Mm.
hours at a time, and we can do so much with it because we're about simplifying and not. Um, yeah, I'm feeling the same this way. We're about simplifying, not complexing, as we're moving forward.
So I love what you share there, Dave. And
Thanks.
talk about music again, the tone. You talk about frequency, talk about vibration, talk about energy. You know, when you hit that
Yeah,
frequency, you feel that tone. And by
yeah,
speak about frequency, energy, vibration. You know,
yeah,
when you broadcast yourself
yeah,
into and
yeah. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think, everything is. Oh, and Jen just she wrote the same thing as I was thinking it. Everything's energy, everything is vibration. And I think that's the thing, is that just like with music, everything is energy, everything's vibration. And I love how you were just saying too, we're always broadcasting this energy, right? But to expand it in the particular thing you're talking about, which is music, tones, right? Notes, different frequencies, different vibrations. If we're in we'll say lower vibration, I'll just for fun, like if I'm going and we're matching that, we're going to get those lower frequencies, right? Which means we're going to get those frequencies that match that vibration. It doesn't mean they're bad, because again, it just validates what I said earlier, which is that contrast isn't bad. It's just contrast, right? But we're going to experience it. If we're in this vibration of contrast, which is dissatisfaction, we're going to match that vibration. It's just how it works, right? If we're feeling poo-poo, we're going to get things that feel poo-poo, right? But on the converse side, if we're going, and we're in that space, and we're matching that frequency, right? We're going to get things that match that vibrational frequency of satisfied, right? Happy, blissful, calm, joyful, feeling good, feeling satisfied. And so the things and experiences and the situations and the people that come into our life are going to match that frequency as well. And just like with singing, we have the freedom to change those frequencies as much and as often as we want. I mean, we're so free that if we wanted to vibrate more contrast in our lives, Espen, we can do that. I just helped an individual with this, move through with this, because I'm like, look, you are free to create as much contrast in your life as you want. You are that free. But then I said, but also guess what? You're also just as free to create a life of happiness, a life of luxury, a life of satisfaction. You're that free too. And you don't need to shift radically to start attracting that. You just need to pivot. You just need to generalize out. You just need to be okay with where you're at so you can move forward. Just tune into who you really are. Yeah. What'd you say?
Breathing. I felt like you supposed to say breathing. It was like just as simple as that. Talk about a little bit about the breathing, just how simple. It's the most powerful tool we have. So it's like when you're just breathing for 50 minutes, and Abraham Hicks talked about it too, and you're quieting your mind, and you're letting that natural energy from within arises, the vibration, that well-being, that feel good now, just with breathing. So tell me about more about that, Dave. How is it for you?
Yeah. So, well, I think for me, it's just like, it's an awareness that breathing is drawing in more source, right? It's not that it's just, actually, I'm going to pull this book right here. I've got it right here. This is a book that we read in class all the time.
Yeah.
Getting into the vortex, because there's a part right here in the beginning of one of these meditations, these guided meditations, that I really love, because it's an understanding about the idea of breathing, right? Which is that people think that breathing is just breathing, right? But this is from page 4, and take a listen to this, you guys. It says, many assume that the process of breathing is only about your physical nature, but that's not the case. The process of breathing is much more than essential function of your physical body. Indeed, it is the flowing of spirit to you and through you. That is the reason that when the focusing of spirit through your physical body ceases, your breathing ceases also. Yeah. So you're just breathing in source. You're breathing in the trueness and the you-ness of all that you are, right? And so for me, I love how you said it's the most powerful tool, because I deliberately breathe all the time now. If I notice any sort of contrast, the very first thing that I do, Espen, and I love that you said that, is I go,
and isn't it the same? And isn't it at the same time? Because you say when you're breathing in, Abraham talked about too, you're having less of, you're releasing, so you have less of the resistance and most of the allowing of the source energy to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I was going to say that, like, I don't even judge the breath, right? I don't judge the contrast. I just take in the breath And as I'm even taking in the breath, so for me, it used to be like 3 or 4 breaths where I'd have to do that and then really get back into a space of feeling my own alignment. And now it usually takes 1 breath. As I'm even breathing in, I've gotten to a point now for myself, Espen, personally, where I can feel a chilling sensation in the back of my neck as I'm taking that deep breath in. And then as I'm exhaling, I can feel it traveling from my spine all the way down through my solar plexus and like out. And then I'm like, okay, moving forward. And I just do. And it's easy. And it's fun. It's fun. And wherever we are, wherever you are who are watching this is with all of this is perfect. Because it's really about understanding that everything that we're going through in life is a journey. It's not a destination. It's not a race. It's not a finish line. It's not a, okay, now I did that, now what? It's more like, okay, that feels good to do that, now what? It's a way different feeling. Way different feeling. And more to come.
More to come. It's so great. So we are on the top of the hour here. Wow.
Oh, cool.
Time goes fast. We have had a lot of fun. And that's the thing. When you don't thinking about time, you don't thinking about, but you just feel good, share your story, and then it's just expand and feels good, and then move on from there. And I would just say thank you so much, Dave, for being here and for sharing everything you share here. You know, I so appreciate you. I'm pretty sure everyone listening here appreciate you for sharing your story. And isn't really when you're sharing your feel good story, and the things that's working out for you, and easy and gentle.
Thanks,
that's inspiration for everyone to listen and to feel. It's not the words itself, but it's the feeling behind the words. And I can feel you there. So thanks for everything you share. My energy is super high now here, and I'm just love listening to you, and pretty sure everyone who's here love listening to you too. So,
well, thank you too, Espen. Your energy is always just so stable, and I just loved your certainty in this, and your questioning was brilliant. So thank you for letting me be the first of many. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Jen, also for being in the back office here and comments all of this, and you are so amazing, beautiful leader of Best Life, and helping everyone to feeling their alignment with herself, being in her alignment, because it's really, like you say, it's about your own alignment. It's like you feeling good. That is the most important. To say to yourself that it is important for me to feel good. That's who I am, and to feel good now and better. That's why I'm here. And always, like you say, also more to come. More to come. So thank you so much, Dan. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, and thanks, you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks.
So
thanks, guys.
More to come.